Contame ahora el cuento de este muchacho que conociste en el restaurante, que tu abuelita te lo mandó de regalo y que ha sido tu marido por ¿cuántos años?
20 años ya casi. Ay, bueno, historia de amor muy bonita.
No podía imaginarme que pudiera sentir yo al perder uno de ellos y ver el tiempo transcurrir sin ellos.
I'm Carrie Taylor. I'm the director of the Citadel Oral History Program, and the Oral History Program has been in existence for about 8 years. And the Oral History Program is committed to documenting the history and the culture of the Low Country with a particular emphasis on the experiences of ordinary Low Country residents. So we're committed to the idea of history from the bottom up. So we have interviews with longshore workers and healthcare professionals, city sanitation workers, as well as politicians, business leaders. But we're committed to the idea of social history or the history of ordinary people. Las Voces project is, I think it's a perfect illustration of the kind of values that the Oral History Program embodies on at least a couple of different levels. We recognized that the experiences of Latinos in general in the Low Country, but immigrants in particular, were not well reflected in our popular in the media, or certainly not in the archives, or really reflected in the kind of broader public consciousness. So the project began then as an effort to document the experiences of people who are really at the margins, economically and politically and socially in the Low Country. But at the same time, the project is also documenting the development of a political community. So we're tracing the development of political leadership among Latinos in the region.
ECHOS is a collaborative and multisensorial art exhibit that is based in the stories of Latino immigrants to the South Carolina Low Country. And the project has its origins in Las Voces of the Low Country. Las Voces of the Low Country is a project of the Citadel Oral History Program that had two goals. One goal was to document the contributions of the Latino immigrants to the culture and economy to South Carolina, and the other goal is to promote dialogue about issues related to immigration, labor, education, and democracy. One of the things that is very important for us in this project is what we call, the oral historians call, shared authority. That means that when we record an oral story, we know that the product is not the sole responsibility of the narrator or the sole responsibility of the interviewer, but the oral history is born in the relationship. When we are talking with another person, we shape the ideas, the questions, the memories, everything that happened in that moment is shared. So what ECHOS does is to share this authority with 19 artists that we convoke to reinterpret these stories through the art. We got a grant from the Donnelly Foundation, and with that money we were able to commission 20 artists that we selected in South Carolina. We call for South Carolina self-identified Latino artists, and we asked them to select some of the most important stories in our collection. And that is what we are presenting now. We are presenting an exhibit that brings the stories, the sound of the voices of the narrators, and brings the art of these wonderful visual artists that we have in South Carolina.
Félix Maceda Baizabal y vengo de Cuernavaca, Morelos, México. Viví en el pueblo de Cocoyoc, Morelos, nacido del puerto de Veracruz.
Mi nombre es Ninochka Santa María de Arroyo. Nací en Venezuela, en Caracas. Estudié en la Universidad Central de Venezuela, en artes, y tengo un degree en cinematografía.
My name is Sammy Lopez. I'm a freelance artist. I'm a graphic designer by day, but I do more or less mixed media art, illustration background, but I paint, do photography, do a little bit of everything. I've been in Columbia, South Carolina about a little over 20 years. Before that, I lived in Miami, but I'm originally Colombian and Puerto Rican.
Mi nombre es Yelixa Díaz y soy nativa del pueblo de Tinaquillo, en Venezuela. Es un pueblo que queda muy cerca de la ciudad de Valencia, es una ciudad grande, y allí fue donde estudié arte.
My name is Oscar Soto Mitchell. I am the son of a Chilean father and an American mother, but my American mother was also born and raised in Chile.
Mi nombre es Aldo Musarelli, soy venezolano, mi esposa también es artista y más que todo hago pinturas, soy un artista visual.
Hey, my name is Ivan Segura. I'm the executive director of Palmetto Luna Arts. Well, Palmetto Luna is a Latino non-profit organization. We foster Latino arts and culture, and we're about to reach our 10-year anniversary. We've been doing this for 10 years now, and slowly but surely we have become the Latino organization that fosters Latino arts. We do a lot of activities to support our Latino artists, and we're also trying to open new spaces for them to show their art. So basically, we are like the connector. We are that organization that now companies, agencies, and other organizations call and say, hey, do you know any Latino artists in the state? Do you have anybody that might want to be working in this project? Or can you help us with this initiative that we're trying to initiate or something? So they will call us, and then what we do is just connect them with the resources that we have in the community, which would be artists or other people that are interested to help. When the Citadel had their initial project called Voices, when they were trying to collect all these histories for immigrants in the Low Country, they got to the point when they wanted to do something to represent those stories. And when they look around and when they ask around, somebody told them that, you know, you should be working with Palmetto Luna Arts. Why? Because they are the ones that are going to provide you with that connection to the artists around. So that's when they approached us the first time. They were saying, you know, we have this idea, this is what we want to do, we don't know how to go about it. And then we say, well, that's exactly what we do. That's exactly what the organization does, which is just help in a way. I think something that has helped Palmetto Luna a lot is that we don't have any staff. We don't have a big ego either. We just want to get things done. And when people come and tell us, hey, can you help with this? We say, yes, of course we're going to help you, because our mission is to foster our art and culture. And we are willing to just say, hey, here is the connections, here is the information, here is you can go about it. We can help you any way we can, but the aim is what we want is to get things done.
I am Diana Farfan. I was born in Bogota, Colombia. I've been living in the States for about 12 years. I am a visual artist. My media is ceramics, but once in a while I like to illustrate. I listen to all the audios that were provided by the Citadel Oral History Program, specific for this project, Echoes. And immediately after I finished listening to Iris' story, the image of Joan of Arc came to my mind. I identified several elements that were in common between Joan of Arc and Iris. Especially the femininity behind these two leaders. They both were moved by their faith and their passion. They both were rebels, they both were beautiful, and they both had a very clear objective.
Yo escogí la historia de Pilar porque cuando empecé a escuchar las historias, hay una conexión que uno tiene, ya sea con las personas o con las situaciones o incluso hasta con las cosas, que a veces a la primera no te das cuenta por qué es y sucede. Y con ella sucedió así, desde que empezó a hablar, a mí me atrajo. Antes de que dijera lo que después me llamó la atención para pintarlo. Y me gustó la manera en que ella contó cómo llegó y me gustó la manera en que ella vio el lugar, cómo ella lo percibió para mí, lo percibió como un cuadro.
Mi nombre es Carolina Mascarín, soy de Bogotá, Colombia y soy fotógrafa. La historia que escogí en Ecos fue la historia de Elsa y dos cosas me impactaron en la historia de ella. Una en la que decía, me domaron, y la segunda, todo es grande. Me identifiqué mucho con su historia en el momento en que yo llegué a los Estados Unidos. Elsa llega a los Estados Unidos y la primera impresión que tiene es, todo es grande. Y cuando yo vine la primera vez a los Estados Unidos, todo me pareció extremadamente grande.
I picked a story about a mother who came from an abusive relationship and moved from Argentina to the States, and she was taken in by two friends, and while she was pregnant they told her, you know, your child is coming soon and you need to do something to provide for her. That you know, they said you're going to run out of breast milk eventually, and that child is going to develop into a living human being that's going to contribute to society. And so she started her own business, and it kind of came out of love and desperation for her child to have a better life for her child. So I listened to the story many times, and it was very, I think, in line with a lot of the themes that I like to produce in my work, and that's hope.
Hi, my name is Lauren Andreu. I'm an artist. I live in Bluffton, South Carolina. Originally, I was born in Germany. My dad we moved around a lot when I was a child, but grew up mostly in South Carolina. Definitely drawn to the Ecos Project because I just loved the concept and the idea of immigrants having their stories be told. My dad is Cuban. He moved here when he was about 12 years old and had, you know, all of the difficulties that an immigrant has in terms of coming, not knowing the language at all, you know, socioeconomic status, starting from the bottom up. And he always attributed his success to having people in his lives who, you know, believed in him and wanted to see him have success. So, you know, given the current just what can seem like sort of a, I don't know what you would say, but an environment and atmosphere right now that is very difficult for immigrants, it was just even more so like something I wanted to be a part of.
I chose my story for the Ecos Project based on the vivid imagery that I heard and whether or not it spoke to me as an artist, but also as an immigrant. So when I heard Carmela's story, the way that she expressed all the different feelings that she had, along with all of the imagery that she saw. She talks about, you know, how her hands were full of buas or espinas, or I don't know how you say, how do you say it in English? Thorns, yes. So Carmela talks about how her hands were covered in thorns, and as soon as I heard her say that, it just brought to my mind exactly what that would look like in an image. And so when she kept making all of these, when she kept talking about all of this imagery, it reminded me of the game of La Loteria. So in the game of La Loteria, in the Mexican game, you are being called out all of these names, you know, La Palma, you know, and it just doesn't end. And it sounded a lot like her story, how she was saying, and then this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened. So immediately, like I instantly knew what I was going to do for that project. So choosing her story was very easy because that was the one that everything made sense to me.
De un principio santo que ya no podemos. Mi nombre es Pedro Rodríguez. Yo soy de San Juan, Puerto Rico. Llevo casi 50 años en los Estados Unidos. Escogí la historia de una chica que era inmigrante y iba de sitio en sitio con su padre cuando había la siembra, la zafra. Y eso me interesó porque también me recordó que en Puerto Rico el campesino se le llamaba el jíbaro. Y el jíbaro pues iba de sitio en sitio con la siembra de la caña o la siembra del café o la siembra del guineo. Y aunque era trabajo duro, en los domingos todos se reunían. Y era usualmente en la iglesia. Se reunían en la iglesia y formaban una comunión que también experimenté aquí en Charleston, porque yo estuve trabajando en James Island con un grupo de inmigrantes. Y esa camaradería, esa felicidad de estar con amigos y gente y bajo la cruz, me inspiró a crear una pintura que enseñara ese aspecto del inmigrante cuando todos se reúnen en comunidad y alaban al Señor. Inmigrantes, todos somos